What's happening, everybody? Welcome to the channel. Thank you for tuning in. If you've never been here before, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Everybody else, welcome back. Welcome back. Lots of videos for you to check out. If you want to see some of the stuff that I previously put up, I would appreciate you checking out the content. Few people ask me, for those of you that have never been here before, I was incarcerated in the New York prison system, maximum security prison system, 17 years straight. I was charged with the charge of murder and pled guilty to manslaughter, was sentenced to 12 and a half to 25 years, served every day of that. And so a few people asked me in the comments, was I ever scared for my life when I was in the prison system? For my actual physical life. And they asked me if there was any particular incident that I could remember. So once a few people asked me this question, I figured I would respond to that. And the quick answer before I get into the story is yes. There were several times I was definitely petrified, I should say, for my actual physical life, where I thought there was a good chance of me dying. One of those times was when a man a few cells away from me was set on fire in his cell, and all the smoke was pouring out onto the company where all the jail cell was, and you couldn't see and you couldn't breathe, and we were crawling on the floor to escape. I thought I was going to be burned alive, that there was a chance that I would burn alive in that incident. That was one of the scariest incidents that I had ever been in the prison system, one of them. But I was going to talk about a particular, there were also several others, but right now I'm going to talk about a particular incident that took place in Attica. And this was in 2002 in Attica. It was like summertime. It was July or August. I can't really remember. I think it was the beginning of the summer, 2002. And what had happened was I was on the handball court playing handball, and just a normal day, normal summer night out there playing handball with the fellas, and a fight broke out. And obviously, it wasn't the fight that made me fear for my life. I would witness fights all the time. I would witness stabbings all the time. I would witness some pretty vicious stuff in there. But this one took a real serious turn for the worst very fast. So the fight broke out next to the handball court where I was playing handball, not too far away, 10, 15 feet away, in the middle of the yard. These two black guys started fighting with one another. And then, so we stopped the handball game. We're watching the fight. And one guy pulls out a knife and starts stabbing the other guy. And once he starts stabbing him, the loudspeaker comes to life. The officer in the guard tower sees the incident, and he gets on the loudspeaker, and he starts screaming in the loudspeaker, drop the knife right now, and he fires a warning shot into like a sand pit that they have. So you hear the gun go off, the AR-15, boom, and then right after that, the tear gas gets shot into the yard. Boom, boom, boom. You hear like these thuds. And it's these metal tear gas canisters that are being shot in the yard. And right at that same time, the guy fires the AR-15 and he shoots the guy that's on top of the other guy stabbing him. He shoots him in the back with live ammunition, loaded AR-15. So now I run towards the wall. I'm getting towards the wall, and I see all this tear gas about to take over the yard. And I was smart enough to grab my shirt and run towards a sink, and because they have a big sink in the yard for when you need water and you need to wash your face, whatever it may be. And I stuck my shirt under the sink and got it wet and tied it around my face. But as this is happening, see what happens when an incident like this happens, when chaos like this happens. There's a guy stabbing someone, and the tear gas is in the air. The guard fires the shot. This creates an opportunity for other prisoners to go after someone that they have wanted to go after. You follow what I'm saying? Because the chaos is going on right now, it gives other prisoners the opportunity to seek retaliation of people they want to attack or retaliate against. And that's exactly what happened. And then a group of guys over here attacked someone that they had a problem with. And then I remember the Bloods, they had a beef, and they attacked a few guys that they had a problem with. And then some Spanish guy. And next thing you know, there's a small riot in the yard, and there's 4 or 5 different fights going on. There's a guy shot on the floor, and so I want to run towards the guard tower because there's like a blind spot under there. I'm really in survival mode. I'm afraid I'm going to get shot. I'm afraid I'm going to die, and I'm starting to bug out. And I run like under the guard tower where there's a blind spot because the guard can't see straight down. And there's a yellow line there. We're not usually allowed to be there. But I ran into that corner with tied the shirt around my face and ducked down into the corner, and here comes that wall of tear gas, and it hit me, and the shirt helped, but my eyes started burning, the snot was coming out of my nose, my throat was burning, you heard everyone coughing and choking, people running for cover, and I remember I turned and looked, and there was a puddle of blood on the floor not far away from me. And I was definitely scared, man. I was definitely scared for my life. I wasn't sure if I was going to survive that situation. I was worried about being shot after hearing the gunshots. And 40, 50 officers come pouring into the yard. They have shields. They have their black gloves on. They have their nightsticks out. And if you're not laying on the floor, they're going to just whack you with the nightsticks because, the guy was on the mic. Everyone get on the floor right now. So now everyone's belly down in the grass. There were puddles of blood in every corner from all these different fights and attacks that were going on. Quite a few people were stabbed that night. That one guy was shot in the back. I believe he lived even from getting shot. I'm not sure that he died. It was real chaos, real pandemonium in that yard. And I was definitely shook up, you know. They kept us in that yard for a good hour and a half, and then they escorted us back into our cells one at a time, and the prison would go on complete lockdown. For about the next 4 days, we were completely locked down. We were fed in our cells. They didn't let us out until their entire investigation was done, because I believe about 4 or 5 people got stabbed that night. There was many people with broken bones, cracked open faces, busted open heads. There was a good 20, 30 prisoners injured. It was like a small riot, and I was, I was scared for my life that time. I didn't know if I was going to make it out of that yard, with everything that was going on. I remember sitting in my cell, and the reality of where I was just hit me again. I mean, I knew where I was, but that a situation like that makes reality smash into you like a brick wall. It reminds you where you are, and it reminds you that getting out alive is not guaranteed, and it reminds you that anything can happen. And it's a very scary feeling. It's a almost a feeling of I wouldn't say desperation, but of almost isolation. You just feel trapped, you know. Um, that was definitely one time. I went back up in my cell, and I probably had some tears in my eyes. Like, what did I do to my life, man? How did I end up in this place? And it was a scary situation. Yeah, 2002. And then 4 days later, we come off a lockdown, and you go back out into the yard at recreation time, and there's a tension in the air. Now you go outside, and you're waiting. Are there prisoners that want to continue their problems with the people that they have beefs with? Is it going to pop off again? Sometimes that happens. You come right off a lockdown, and then boom, it pops off again. But as I said, when there's chaos like that in prison with the tear gas and a guy getting shot, that creates the opportunity for other people to go after their enemies that they wanted to go after, because they're more have more opportunity to get away with it, because the officers can't see everything with tear gas in the yard, and they can't see everything with 5, 6, 7 different fights happening in different corners. And so people go after their enemies at that time. I've seen that a lot. So yeah, guys, that was a time that I was scared for my life. One of the times where it was a pretty intense situation. You have grown men stabbing, not kids. You have grown men in their 30s, 40s, 50s stabbing each other, cracking each other over the head, going at. This is why it's important to live right in prison. You know what I mean? It really is. This is why it's important to keep your word. This is why it's important to be a man and to do good business if you do business with people, because those opportunities arise for people to get you back if you're a piece of shit. You know what I mean? And when those opportunities do arise, they'll take advantage of those opportunities to get the guys that are, pieces of garbage in the prison system. It's also a time where they go after rapists and child molesters. Like, they're going to get the rapists and child molesters anyway. One way or another, they're going to get them. But when situations like that happen, it makes it easy to go get them real quick when nobody can see it. So, yeah, I'm going to wrap this video up. I know it's a short one, but you guys wanted to hear about a time when I was really scared for my life. That was definitely one of the times, man. Let me wrap this up, and I got another video coming tomorrow morning. I'm working on it right now. All right, you guys have a good one. I'll see you later. Take care.